Welcome to question 2 of the 2006 VCAA Mathematical Methods Exam 1. In this video we will be looking at the solutions and examination advice for this question. A reminder that this video is in no way endorsed by VCAA. For question 2 we have a function f which has a domain of the real number set for the rule f of x equals 3 times e to the power of 2x minus 1, and for part A we're asked to find the rule for the inverse function. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to let y equal f of x so that we've only got x and y in our rule. Therefore we can write this as y is equal to 3 times e to the power of 2x minus 1. Next we swap x and y to find the inverse, which will give x is equal to 3 times e to the power of 2y subtract 1. And next we want to solve for y. So to do that we're going to add 1 to both sides, so we'll have x plus 1 is equal to 3e to the power of 2y, and then we're going to divide both sides by 3, so we find that e to the power of 2y is equal to x plus 1 all divided by 3. And now to unlock the 2y we need to take an equivalent log statement, and that will give us 2y is equal to log e of x plus 1 all divided by 3. Finally we divide both sides of the equation by 2 to get y by itself, and we also replace y with f negative 1 of x, so we use the correct notation, and that's going to equal 1/2 times log e of x plus 1 all divided by 3. So that is the rule for the inverse function of f. For part B we're asked to find the domain of the inverse function. So what we're going to do is we're going to consider our original graph of f of x. So if we have a look at what f of x might look like, we would have an asymptote at y equals -1. So along here at y equals -1 there's an asymptote, and then our graph would look something like this. And the reason why we do that is so that we can find the domain and the range of the function f and its inverse. We're going to set up a little table to help organise what we find. So the domain of the original exponential f was the real number system, and the range of it, if we can have a look at our graph, is going to be from -1 not included to infinity. So when we have inverse functions, our domain and range swap, meaning that the domain of f inverse is now -1 to infinity, and the range of f inverse is the real number set. Therefore, the answer to part B is -1 to infinity. In the examiner's report, it says that part A was generally well answered, with most students knowing to interchange x and y in order to find the rule of an inverse function. However, some students had difficulty transposing the equation, so that's the step when they were solving for y, with common errors being to multiply by 2 rather than divide by 2 in that final step. For part B, it appears that it was slightly less well answered, with only 45% of students getting the correct answer. Simply stating that the domain of the inverse function is the same as the range of the original was not sufficient to gain the mark. Students were expected to explicitly state the domain as a set, and common errors were students that thought that the domain of the inverse was the real number system excluding 0, the real number system excluding -1, or including x equals -1, which is not part of the domain. So students needed to take care that that should have been a round bracket in the correct answer up here.